What is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mouse Bros. I'm here with the boys, Cole and John. Cole showing off a beautiful Gideon's Bakehouse Kringle cake, which is the seasonal cake. And if we're talking about Disney Springs, I think we should talk about the parks today. And if we're talking about the parks today, I think it's only right to give the people what they want. You know I'm here with Cole and John. I'm stepping back now. It's time, baby. John's taking the reins. It is a John Does Diz exclusive episode. He'll explain his topic and everything, and I'm just gonna let him go with the flow. And of course, at the end, our game master Cole, as always, has a fun little game for us. So, John, take it away, you handsome SOB.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the number one Disney podcast in the world. I am your host tonight, John Does Diz, and we are going to be talking about the biggest piece of news to drop in Disney in the last, 2-3 years maybe? This is huge. This is bigger than when Galaxy's Edge was dropped. If you've been living under a rock the past week and a half, then I'm here to break it to you. Bob Chapek has been officially fired as the CEO of Disney, and old Bob is back in. We got Bob out and Bob in. Bob Iger's back as the CEO. And I have the full timeline of how this went down, and I'm really excited to get into this episode. So, starting Friday, November 18th, the Walt Disney Board of Executives approached Bob Iger, asking him to come back as CEO. By November 20th, he was officially announced as the new Disney CEO for the next 2 years. Chapek was informed moments before the official announcement was made on social media. One of the biggest things that Chapek was booted for was numbers were low across the board, even though he basically cheated his way through the numbers. If you haven't heard that one, we're going to get into that. The stock price was an all-time low at the firing of Chapek. The stock price is at $92 Sunday night Sunday night when he got fired. It was at an all-time low at $92. The stock opened at $92, and within hours Monday morning, the stock was well over $100. So, and on top of that, Bob Chapek's right-hand man, Kareem Daniel, was also let go on the 22nd. He was the chairman of Disney Media and Entertainment. Much of the board rebelled for weeks against Chapek to get him out. Board member Christine McCarthy led the charge to get him out. Much of the board was threatening to leave the company because of actions that Bob Chapek made during this time as CEO. This is huge. Oh my God. It's been insane. Insane.
I celebrated.
You celebrated?
I think we all
celebrated.
did.
Yeah,
How'd you celebrate?
We were at the dance hall, man. We were already out in public on property when the news dropped. That's
right. You were live. I jumped in there. You were live at the dance hall. How'd you celebrate, Nico?
I ran to Sam and I was like, babe, and she was like, yes. I was like, did you see the news? She was like, no. I was like, Chapek's out, Iger's in, and she was like, what does that mean? And I'm like, because Sam just recently got into the parks with me over the last few years, and I was like, that means it's all gonna change. And I celebrated by having a massive Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, everybody. I think we all
that's another thing. I hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving. I think we're just so excited. I'm so excited to get in this episode.
We all had something to be thankful for, so I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's crazy. I honestly didn't believe it. I thought it was Mousetrap News.
Mousetrap
News. I definitely checked resources before I went and posted anything. I was like, hold up. Who reported it? Who reported it?
The funniest thing is,
and if you didn't see, there was a memo sent to cast members by Bob Iger himself. Mousetrap News.
I was saying that the funniest thing is seeing boomers think that Mousetrap News is true news.
You saw that it made it all the way to Fox News, right? Mousetrap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It made it to Fox News and then to Jimmy Kimmel. No, Fallon.
Yeah.
Fallon.
I'm surprised it didn't make others, to be honest. It's kind of funny. But we're going to go back. There was a memo sent to cast members by Bob Iger himself, obviously through an email. The memo stated, over the coming weeks, we will begin implementing organizational and operating changes within the company. It is my intention to restructure things in a way that honors and respects creativity as the heart and soul of who we are. That is a positive note because there has been no creativity whatsoever coming from this company in the past 2.5 years since this man has stepped down in February of 2020. Now that he's back, the thing is, Bob Iger knows this company. He knows that the heart and soul of Disney from day one has always been the creativity behind not only the Imagineers, but filmmakers, the movie studios. Anything that is under the Disney name has always been creativity and originality is number one. And I do not care what you all have to say about the IPs. It's still a thing. So, because people are going to be like, oh, but what about the IPs about creativity? Someone had to think about it, right? Someone had to be creative and think about it, right? Why? That's an argument for another time I'd like to get into, but not today.
Did you hear about the town hall from earlier today?
I did. I went through and read Scott Gustin's tweets about them. He is a very reliable source for Disney
All good
news.
Things. All good things.
All very good things. I thought it was really interesting that people are like speculating that Apple is trying to buy out Disney and create a merger. He touched on that a little bit and was like, yeah, that's just speculation. And the likelihood that two massive companies that basically run the entertainment industry like that just doesn't, that would be the dumbest thing to happen for both of them. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's a smart step for either of them in a sense. Don't need it, no.
I don't see Apple needing to do that. Like that's a headache. It's a headache to try to like for.
No.
Also,
two totally different companies.
Does Apple have enough to buy Disney? If we're being honest, if we're really being honest.
Because you're not buying Disney. You're buying Disney and you're buying everything that falls under that. So that's Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, whatever else. Because there's so much more than just those like three bangers right there. There's so much more that falls under the Disney parks. And
I know how expensive my iPhone is, but I don't think Apple's got enough money to buy Disney.
Replace the Apple on the back of the phone with some Mickey ears. $1 million idea.
Mickey ears. So ongoing, the situation is crazy. Tom Morris tweeted, if you don't know who Tom Morris is, he was an Imagineer for, I think, 30 plus years or so. He has made some of the biggest and best rides, some of the original rides in Disney. And he was on and off for a little bit, but he's full-time retired now. He tweeted out saying, I don't cry about why I'm not at Walt Disney Imagineering anymore. B, I did feel it was time to leave, but that guy never even took 30 seconds to stop in and introduce himself, let alone learn my history or what I had accomplished. Something all the other leaders and CEOs made it a point to do. That other guy obviously talking about Bob Chapek, which is really just shows you what type of guy he is, considering Imagineering is the heart of this company in the theme parks alone. He didn't take the time to even go say hello to a legend as like Tom Morris. So it's just incredible. But that's kind of the timeline of everything that's happened. If you haven't been a part of that, there's so much more I can go on about that, but we don't want to jump into all that. So the rest of tonight, we're going to be talking about 3 things from each of us. What we personally want to see happen under this new / old management that is Bob Iger and company.
A few moments later.
Wait, Nico, before you get into your thoughts on everything, I just want to say the irony of all of this that Bob Chapek served 999 days. So there was no more room for the 1,000th happy haunt in the Disney Board of Executive things. Whatever. I don't even know what that meant. Nico, what do you think?
Say that Chapek was the 1,000th happy haunt. Chapek
wasn't happy, though.
He was the 1,000th happy. All right, so first we're talking about what we want to see, correct?
Yes. What do you want to see out of this new organization that's being put together?
So when talking about this, I know you said to not go too basic, but there's one thing that's kind of basic,
Not too basic.
but I have reasoning for. After this, it gets a little bit weird. But my first thing is going to be the Magical Express. I want to see the Magical Express come back. And the reason why I say that, and it's going to hit differently, and it's personal to me, is as somebody who comes on full on Disney vacations. Like I come out there for a week-long trip every year. I've been doing it since I was a kid. One of the things that I like really look forward to was the Magical Express. MCO Airport is obviously my favorite in the world because it's plastered with Mickey Mouse. But the feeling of going into MCO and then walking down to where Magical Express is and your vacation already being kicked off by seeing a cast member with a big smile on their face and getting onto a Disney themed bus that's playing Disney cartoons, taking you to your Disney resort, having that already included in the price of your package because how expensive Ubers or Mears Connect is. It's just like, I don't know. Magical Express, it's the perfect kickoff to a vacation for somebody coming from out of state. So I don't really think it's going to happen. It would be a lot of work. But that is probably my first real want.
Yeah, because let's establish this right now. Mr. Beard's shuttle service is not going to be a continuous thing. Everyone keeps getting picked up from the airport. I'm gonna have to go buy a bus and start a business at this rate if they don't bring back Magical Express.
I
It's
like
stupid,
that,
but
that's a good
fun.
point. That's a good point from not only the consumer standpoint, or a guest or anything, but also from like a travel agent standpoint as well. Being a travel agent without Magical Express is the biggest pain in the ass of all time because you're trying to get, first of all, you're trying to communicate with your client like, yo, are you taking, like, especially ones who fly in, are you taking an Uber or do we need to call Sunshine Flyers? Do we need to, do you want to rent a car? How do you want to do this?
Minivan.
So I think that's a big problem. Minivan, that's another thing. Like, well, they did bring minivans back, so that is a plus. But even then, it's $150
so
to the airport
expensive.
or back one way. So even that's expensive. I mean, an Uber, I think I priced out an Uber the other day for myself. I think that was like $30 to $60, depending on the time of day.
Depending on the time.
So, I mean, and that's just for one person. So for me to Uber to property, then Uber back would cost me $120 at most, and that's if the surges are high. But I mean, that's a really good point. You got anything else to add on to that, or?
No, not really. I just want to see it come back. That's all. I like that start to my vacation.
I wish the train would have worked out. Like, I know they got rid of that because they thought the train was going to be there. But I'm going to be honest. Every single time I drive past the parks, like down 4, I'm just like, where was this train going to go? For a minute there, the land that they bought just across the street from Springs, I thought for certain the reason they bought all that land right outside Disney property off of Lake Buena Vista, right by I-4, was because that was going to be like a train terminal somehow. And like, because I'm like, well, they said they were going to take you to Disney Springs. There's nowhere that can go right to Disney Springs. So I'm just like, are they going to take you to just like basically right down the street? And maybe there'll be a bus like terminal that will then take you either into Springs directly or take you to your resort. I thought that was what was going to happen. But obviously that area is not dedicated. That's just going to be an on-ramp or an off-ramp now.
Yeah, the only spot, if you look at a Google map, the only spot that would have worked to like actually have a train station be done at Disney Springs would have been like the very far back side of like where Saratoga is, or like there's when you're going away from Disney Springs, like when you're going out of like Disney property, that new hotel they built on the left side, they could have done one there. The Drury Inn, that's what they just built. They just built a Drury Inn right there.
Yeah.
They could have built one right. They could have done it right there, but I think that hotel already like had property bought right there. It had
They did. They've been
there.
expanding.
Yeah. So they've been, because I remember like 4 years ago that property was just finally gutted down and flattened for something to go there. But they've been talking about that train for a while. But well, Cole, what's your want? What's your first want on the list?
I'm going to save the big one for last.
Okay.
First and foremost, it's something I've been harping on a lot. I've talked about it recently. I think there needs to be a change to the reservation system. And I know that's going to tick some people off, not just saying get rid of it. Here's my thing. I don't think you can get rid of it. I do see the benefit in places like California, because California does hit capacity. Their parks are smaller and they're both right next to each other. So the Disney World has the benefit of being spread out, that they see more, and obviously 4 parks and then everything else you can do on property. Anaheim doesn't really have that. So I see the need for the reservation system. So you can't get rid of it in Florida, because then you're going to have everyone in California complaining that they still have it. So you need to kind of find some sort of a balance. And I think the biggest thing for a balance is more freedom in it, and allowing like annual pass holders, like maybe you don't need a reservation after 2, or move park hopping up earlier in the day if you want to make it that way. Like there are little things that they could do that make it a lot easier for us, because like for locals, I think the biggest thing is like if you want to go in the park in the evening, but you can get a reservation for that day because it's a last minute decision, stuff like that. So I want to see if they're going to keep the reservation system, which I'm just trying not to get my hopes up. I feel like they are. I think it just needs to be revamped, and he's looking at it. I know that's part of the town hall. And so that's my first one.
That's your first one? Okay, so fun fact, that was my first one. So I'm going to add on to what you just said in here, because I really went into detail with this one a lot. Because I agree. The reservation system doesn't need to go anywhere for a lot of reasons, and that being, especially in Walt Disney World, I don't know how California is, but especially in Walt Disney World, with like it always being the most visited theme park in the world, it does not need to go anywhere. But they do need to give more freedom to annual pass holders and DVC members. Because think of it like this. 80 to 70% of guests who are in the park are most likely regular ticketed guests, meaning people who are there on vacation, and the other 20 to 30% are probably your annual pass holders and DVC members. So why make a very small group in a large ocean have to make reservations? That doesn't make sense to me. It never made sense to me. The reservation systems never bothered me, but I do think at some point they do need to just let annual pass holders and DVC members up to a certain tier of pass holder, by the way. So I'm saying, like, if you have a Pixie Pass, then you should still have to make that park reservation. Like, that's just how I look at it. I think, but like when you get up to like, I don't know, what did we have? The Sorcerer Pass, whatever it's called, the one underneath the Incredipass, between the Incredipass and the Sorcerer Pass, I think you don't need to make a park reservation system, or a park reservation, but the other ones you do.
And you actually make a really good point there, because the Pirate and the Pixie are already incredibly limited. Like Pirate has every other weekend blocked out, and Pixie's blocked on the weekend. So if you're really just giving this freedom to Sorcerer, you're giving the freedom to pass holders who there are plenty of weekends that the only pass holders that can be in the park are the people that have Sorcerer and Incredipass. So you don't even have half of the available annual pass levels that can be in the park.
Nope.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think a easy, simple fix, why not for at least, as you said, certain levels of pass holder, you don't need a reservation after park hopping time or after 4 o'clock. Because a lot of those annual pass holders or locals will get out of work and then go to the parks. Like, say, Cole. Why not just leave it open where if you arrive after a certain time, you just don't need a reservation? You can just show up. Those are the times when people start to leave or park hop. People with kids go back to the resorts to rest. Like, it's just that little bit extra for those higher tiered pass holders, especially because it's such an issue that, like, they were raising the price on passes and taking away, like, certain things from pass holders. So it's like, he could give such little things back to pass holders and locals and DVC members, and it really wouldn't cost them much money.
No. Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it too. I didn't even think about that, about just like, you know, if you're still going to force pass holders and DVC to make reservations after or at park hopping time at 2 o'clock, just say, hey, you don't need a reservation after 2 if you're AP or DVC. So that's a really good look. That's good. Good thought. Good thought, Nico.
Well,
ooh,
even just little changes like what California has, like in Florida, we're the ones that have the difficulty in getting from park to park. So he needs to look at that and go, why did we give California this rule where they don't have to check in at their first park if it's after park hopping has started, but we still do? We're the ones that have the only difficulty in that scenario. So changing something like that, or the fact that they can park hop at 1 and their parks are open until 10 p.m. and midnight, but we can't park hop till 2, and our parks, most of them all close at 9. I mean, I know they're starting to be open a little bit later. Like Epcot was open until 9:30 this last week.
Wow.
Magic Kingdom is seeing 11 p.m. close times, things like that. But
It's like
still,
holiday
it's like
hours.
we don't have even remotely the same hours. And
No.
I know this is all a staffing thing, and I people will say it. But looking at things like that, making the reservation system and the benefits for the annual pass holders line up. I understand that like Disneyland and Disney World have always been so separate in the things that they do, especially now in this even further digital age that like TikTok has created. They need to start becoming a little bit more uniform, because even stuff like there's every week there's someone making a churro joke, and like, what's the difficulty there? Just give Disney World the same freaking carts
It's mass
that Disneyland
production
has.
anyways.
And yeah, like it's just you give us the same carts that warm them on the spot, and it's a totally different ball game. They're the same thing. Like there's little things that could be changed that are different in each park that don't need to be different. But we've gone on along about the pass holder reservation system. Nico, what's your second thing?
Yeah, so I told you that my first one was going to be a little basic, so that I could get kind of wacky. Dude, fucking give me back the sorcerer hat at Hollywood Studios. That's so stupid. But give me that big ass sorcerer hat with the like pin stand and the ear merchant and everything right in the middle of that park, because I feel like they cannot decide on a true icon for that park. Is it the Chinese Theater? Is it Tower of Terror? Like, what is it? Give us back the sorcerer hat.
It's the
I
water
don't care.
tower.
I want it to be this. Exactly, the water tower is in the conversation. Give me the sorcerer hat right in smack dab in the middle of Hollywood Studios, sticking out like a sore thumb. Purple hat, stars, moons, Phantasmic's back. Up the ante, baby. Sorcerer hat time.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, I'm ending this discussion. It is the tower. Beacons in that park is on the tower. The Funko Pop for that park for the 50th is the tower. The tower is the icon. There's not even a discussion of what the icon is.
But the nighttime,
Don't
but the nighttime
disrespect the
spectacular
tower.
is Phantasmic. But the nighttime spectacular is Phantasmic. The nighttime spectacular is Phantasmic. So why not put the sorcerer
Harmonious isn't the icon for Epcot.
I was just gonna give an argument, but it doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say, well, other park icons
who cares
are not
what the
rides,
show is?
but Spaceship Earth is literally a ride, and the Tree of Life it's tough to be a bug. Which I don't know if you consider that a ride or just like a live action horror movie.
I consider that
experience.
hell. That's what I consider that.
Listen,
Literally
I'm about ready to. I'm about ready to go past our PG-13 rating. If you're staying in the room in Cinderella's castle might be a ride as well.
Oh,
It's a hotel, basically.
hey-o.
It's not a ride.
Oh,
It's an apartment.
I feel like
John, did that one go over your head?
I feel like
Oh!
stuff like that wouldn't be allowed in the castle suite.
The delayed response.
Oh,
by
boy.
John.
Oh my god. I need to try and find like the light bulb going off sound and edit it in there.
Hey, yo.
Oh my god. The joke just flew
Listen,
over
I
John's head.
gave you a warning. I said we were
Shit.
going beyond.
I get a fast pass for that ride.
Less rated
John.
R. Tinkerbell does ride the zip line across the park, so I guess
It's a ride. There you go. It's a ride. Castle's a ride. It's an attraction. It's an attraction. Is we're going to go by
Regardless,
Disney terms.
I'm just trying to get wacky and not be basic. I know everybody's gonna say things like APs and renewals and shit like that. I want to see the sorcerer hat back, man. It reminds me of the Year of a Million Dreams. It's nostalgia. Like as a kid, I was so excited.
That was
to
an
see
incredible year, too.
the Year of a Million Dreams is
was a
arguably the
good
best year. I heard another podcast like recently do a recap of like everything that was going on Year of a Million Dreams, and they like played a clip of the commercial. Bro, just chills all over my body. It was so good. I don't know. I just feel like it lends to like the idea of retro Disney, but that's me. Cole, what's your second one? What do you want to see?
since I had the same thing John had the first time, I don't think anyone else is going to say this, but I was going to save this one for last. But we're just going to talk about it now. Give me my dark park. Like,
I
listen,
didn't say it because I was
Epic
letting
Universe
you.
is being
I didn't even put it in there.
Epic Universe is being built. Epic Universe is being built. I understand it's expensive, but just take it out of Blue Sky and get it on the ground running. Pick the land, clear the land, like start clearing the trees, and then whoever you bring in 2 years' time, since he's grooming whoever they're going to bring in, he's deciding and he's picking someone, just be like, listen, focus on this. Like, this will be your legacy if you're the CEO that brings the fifth park to existence. And not only just the fifth park, a fifth park that everyone has been wanting for so long. Like, here's the thing. I know a lot of people said, like, oh, after D23, they're like, oh, well, it's not a park. It's going to be a land. I've gone back and watched my own recording of that panel. He does not call it a land. All they say is off in the distance. And there's a castle. And even the artwork shows this very... Yeah, it shows a really distant castle. And I'm like, I'm sorry, he doesn't call it a land. All they say is off in the distance. For all you know, they're just saying, hey, what if there's a park off in the distance? And maybe even a park that you can get to from like a back exit out of Magic Kingdom. Like
from the back side of New Fantasyland.
Like start to connect the parks a little bit better. Like even put a freaking monorail in that runs from...
You get abducted by a villain. You get abducted by a villain, and they kidnap you into the dark park. Dude, it's genius. How are they not doing this? I mean, Cole, this is completely realistic. In the 2 years that we have Bob Iger here, he should announce, develop, and open a dark park.
Well, he's not... Okay, whoa. Whoa. You saw how long it's taken Tron to get off the ground.
Sarcastic.
We're not opening it, but he can flatten the land. 2 years by Disney standards, we'll have the ground flattened. We'll be ready. Maybe some plumbing.
Maybe we'll get some walls.
John?
What?
It better be more than a tree.
I'm right there with you. Like, I mean, they never call it a land. I think it'd be a really cool park. I want to add on to that. I think instead of making it a whole dark park, I think at night it should be a dark park. And then during the day, it's like a weird transition type of thing.
Well, no, my whole thing has been it's a late night, and like, because here's the thing with a dark park is there is going to be a scarier element to it, no matter what. You make a park that's dedicated to villains, everything is going to be creepier, but it's also going to be better at night. I've always said this: if we have a dark park, if we have a fifth gate, it does not open till sundown. And it is a park that's hours of operations do not start till sundown, so sometime between 7 and 9 p.m. And it runs until it's like maybe open 8 hours and runs till early morning. And so then you give yourself the park that you can have the young adults or the annual pass holders that will go out and like they'll either do a park all day long and still have an energy to go do a dark park. You eliminate the little kids like that wouldn't be okay there. Well, they're tired. They've gone to bed. That's not even a question for parents on whether or not they should have booked that. It is going to be a dark park, unfortunately, is less for the children. It's not going to be as kid friendly by nature. So make it later hours and make it the park that every single stand, every single quick service, everything has got cocktails, everything. Make it completely what a villain's park would be in comparison to Disneyland or Magic Kingdom. And that's my logic behind it. So it's always dark in the dark park.
Do you think they market that though? How would...
Give us a dark version of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Let your child or adult get turned into a villain instead of a princess. You want to talk about charging? You want to talk about prices? People would pay.
Bibbidi Bobbidi, I'm the bad guy now.
How do they market that though? How do they sell that and say we'll operate this park from here to now? Where do they find the casting for that?
What do you mean? I mean, think about it. A lot of young adults work in food service, restaurant at places like McDonald's and everything that are open 24/7. They're like Walmart 24/7. Like some Targets 24/7. There are plenty of places that are open overnight. You're not changing anything. You're still hiring the same personnel. In fact, their parks currently they have overnight staff for cleaning and everything like that. So it's
Third
the
shift.
same logic, but it's third shift. It's just this case they're working with guests in the park, whereas like first shift is doing the cleaning during the day. It's also beneficial because we have a lot of rain during the day in Florida. We do not have like just random showers in the early evening. The only time we have rain in the evening is if we have, no kidding, like storm systems that are raining all day long. So those like afternoon showers and stuff we get that put a damper on some guests' day. Well, guess what? All right, well, we're just going to go back to the resort. We're going to take a break. We're going to spend our money and our time and relax at the resort. And then we're going to go back out later and we're going to go to the dark park because they can park hop to the dark park.
You got me thinking now about it. Not only could they do the dark park, they can do a hotel. They can do a full-blown resort where you spend your day at the resort just hanging out, vibing, and then 7, 8 o'clock at night, you hit up the park.
Yep. I'm telling you, because we are in the generation now of like the Disney adults.
Right.
Full on. So you have this well-established, and we're also, unfortunately, the millennials and Gen Z, unfortunately, sorry, Grandma, and Nico, I know you're a dad now, but our generations are not having kids as early as generations before us. They're having kids later in life. So
I'm
you
29.
have... No, I'm just talking about, like, you have a kid.
I'm not very
The
young.
rest of us don't have... I'm not calling you old. I'm just saying a lot of millennials...
I'm saying on the contrary, I'm the younger generation, and I had a kid old.
Yeah, but I'm just... On the majority, we're just not... People aren't having kids young anymore. So you have a good age range that will go to that park constantly. And if you got alcohol flowing in that park, you're good. You're good.
You'll have some kids come from it.
Definitely. John, did you have
Anyways, I'm going to jump. Let's just end on that note for the dark park and let me jump right into my want here. And I think this is a really good one that a lot of people haven't thought of, or at least that I've seen on the internet yet. I want a change to Genie Plus. I don't want Genie Plus gone. I don't want the old Fast Pass system back. Come after me. I'll fight about it all day long in the comments because I know exactly where this clip is headed. I want a change to Genie Plus, and I want 2 versions of it. I want the paid version, and I want the free version. Now you're all going to love me now that what I'm about to say. Here we go. So, make a free and paid version of Genie Plus. They still keep the same BS you get with Genie Plus. Here's your free version. Your free version, you're allowed per person in your party 3 Fast Passes a day to specific rides. So
Fast Pass Plus?
No. So, but you cannot pick rides like Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain. They're not E-ticket rides. They're not A-ticket rides. They're between like B and D tier rides that you get to choose from. So you don't.
In the paid version, you get.
In
to
the
choose
paid
from the
version,
big
you get to
ones.
choose from whatever you want. So any ride in Magic Kingdom. So
it's similar to Max Pass that Disneyland had. Similar, but not as.
It's not as
free
free.
roaming.
Right. So like if I go in the park and I'm like, I'm going to get a Fast Pass for like, let's say something like Peter Pan. That could be a free ride in a sense because you do wait a little bit, but it's really not an e-ticket attraction at the Magic Kingdom. Like Small World would be under that category. But for example, Pirates would not be under that category. You'd have to pay if you want to be able to get into the Fast Pass or Lightning Lane ride for Genie Plus because Pirates is an e-ticket ride or a ticket, however you want to rank it or whatever.
Yeah, see, I really think if they keep Genie Plus, they need to make it more like what Max Pass was out in Disneyland. So for anyone that doesn't know how Max Pass worked, is it was paid. You paid a flat rate for the day, and then you could make, at a time, 3 Fast Pass reservations, but as you went to that attraction, you could then, once you scanned in, you could make another one, but you would open up the app and it would show you times for those rides. Like you wouldn't have the freedom to be like, oh, well, I want to look for something right now at 1:00. It would show you rides and it would give you times, and sometimes it would be later in the day. But what was nice about that is because it was always fluctuating. I think there's a real benefit in doing something like that because if you do Max Pass like that, you can control where people go to make the wait times lower. Because if someone paid for Max Pass and you've got a couple rides at 80 minutes and you've got some at 30 minutes, you then go, hey, right now your Max Pass offerings, like, hey, go over to these rides that have a lower wait time and basically try to pull people away from maybe where they wanted to initially go next to go where they don't have to wait in a longer line. And that will help balance out wait times if you do that strategically. And it could really benefit while you still have people paying for it. They still feel like they're benefiting.
I mean, my only issue with it, and I know we're just talking about wants, is that like that's one of the things that people don't realize. Genie Plus was Iger's thing. This was a Bob Iger brainchild, and maybe it didn't go in the direction that he exactly wanted with pricing and certain things and increases, but Genie Plus was like announced to be started with Iger. So it's just one of those things where I'm like,
it was his thing.
Yes, I agree that there should be changes, but will he if it was done in his vision already? But I mean, I still think it's a great idea. I don't think Genie Plus is as flawed as people say. I used it. It took me about 1 day to get used to it, and it wasn't that bad for me, but yeah, I could definitely see changes to it.
It's flawed to the average guest. It's not flawed to like people who understand how the MDX app works.
The one flaw really is that
who read on it.
The one flaw is really that like if you know how to stack reservations, you'll be fine. But the big flaw is that you spend a lot of time looking at your phone. You spend a lot of time taking time away where you could enjoy the parks where you're looking at your phone. What's our next reservation? What's available now? What's available in 2 hours? Am I stacking? It's a lot and it's hectic, but I don't know. I like the idea, but I think that would bring me into my final want, which
go for it.
This one's a doozy, guys. I would like a Toruk Makto, aka Jake Sully, meet and greet in Pandora. I'm talking about a full-on 9-foot-tall blue alien meet and greet in Pandora. Toruk Makto is Jake Sully's Na'vi name. I said it because I don't know that this is anything that's actually could be possible. To see something like that.
They have a Hulk.
Yeah, but the Hulk is able to be freestanding because of how wide the base is. It's such a wide structure, and it's such like a fortified structure, and it still walks kind of clunky.
But he moves around. That's the thing with Hulk. He moves around. If you have a permanent one, kind of like what they did with Groot, with Baby Groot, just being like on a table, like in Hollywood Studios, if you have a no kidding animatronic, just like his mother-in-law on the Na'vi River ride, dude, I like what you're thinking. But man, could you imagine if you went into like a private area where it's got him and Last Shadow, like just towering over him or like leaning forward, so it is truly Toruk Makto? Dude, that'd be the coolest freaking. I'd be like,
that would creep me out.
That'd be awesome,
dude. I know. I knew it was crazy, and it's something that we probably won't see for a long time, if ever. But
smart.
But I still think it would be super cool. Like, it would just be a sick meet and greet. I don't know. That's me personally. That's my
great.
dumb little.
I loved it.
Well, thank you.
I love where you went with this.
I appreciate it. I thought that it would have been a little bit too out there, but.
No, because I didn't. Well, because at first I was like, "How are you gonna fit human into something skinny?" But I'm like, "Well, they did have a Hulk," and then you're like, "Well, the base," and I'm like, "Well, that's true because avatars are kind of skinny, and Hulk is kind of."
Even if he was if he's like sitting
big and strong, but he's not stronger than Thor. But
just kind of like sitting, like
it
lean
does. The
forward,
animatronic makes sense.
Upper half only really has to move, kind of like what you said with the Shaman of Songs in Na'vi River Journey, but just like one that has like a moving face. And then kind of like they do in Universal with Optimus Prime, like you have somebody talking to you directly, or like kind of like Crush, you have the animatronic with a live voice actor.
I would have him kneeling down so that his legs, he's in a kneeling position. The base of him is rooted, but then from the torso up, the arms can move and he can like lean in a little closer. So that way it's like he's interacting with you, and then you come stand in front of him. So then it's not as tall. So it's a more functional photo, and he's just kind of like leans in or whatever. And then you like take the photo and everything like that. And maybe have like Last Shadow curling around him that has his head down there. And it'll be, oh, dude, you had me so excited.
It'd be so I thought this was going to be a total throwaway, but I'm glad I got everybody hyped on it.
I already pre-ordered Turok Makto Pop. I already pre-ordered the Funko.
My Secret Santa's getting it for me. I'm very excited.
So, spoiler warning for those who want to keep the magic alive for Disney parks, but I'm about to spoil it for you. I just did the Keys to the Kingdom tour, and you do get to go backstage on the Keys to the Kingdom tour. This was one of the coolest little things that I already knew, but I didn't realize this. It was crazy. It was just back there in a blue like Bacta looking tank. It was wild. No, our tour guide, wonderful man by the way, I forget his name, but he showed us the backside of Splash Mountain. He said, "Now does it look different from the front?" I said, "Yes, it does." The backside of water, yes. And so I said, "It does." He said, "Do you know why they only theme the front? Because it saves them money. Why would they theme the backside?" Think about that to the whole animatronic Avatar dude thing we're talking about. They wouldn't even have to spend that much money getting the animatronic to work and fully function like that. Because that's probably how it is for the one on the river ride. You only see the top half waving. The legs don't move. So it would work completely. They wouldn't have, what I'm getting at is here, they wouldn't have to spend all the money people are thinking, oh, that would cost so much money. No, it wouldn't. They would just have to get from like the chest up to move.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Cole
even
and I
have to.
kind of both touched on that.
This is great.
Cole and I had both kind of said
great.
to like root the legs in the ground.
Yeah.
This is all a mute point because they've just gone and grown their own Na'vi. That's why Way of Water cost $2 billion. It's because they went and those people are real. Those are real blue people. They're not CGI'd.
Yeah, it's all
real?
practical effects.
They went and found their own, just like, hey, you guys want to be in a
that's
movie?
That's why it's got to make $2 million to break even, or $2 billion to break even. Some very expensive actors.
Aren't there like 6 more Avatars movies coming in like the next like 10 years?
6
or something
total.
like that?
I know 2 and 3 were filmed together, but yeah.
That's probably why it was $2 billion.
Number 3 is going to be a 2024 release. I think it's like slated almost exactly 2 years after The Way of Water. And then there are 3 more movies coming out of that. It's a 6-movie story for James Cameron, according to him. So do with that information what you will.
We've had the Book of Earth. Now we're having the Book of Water. What's next? The Book of Wind?
Is it like
Fire?
Little Avatar? These
I
are the
feel like
elements?
fire is a good climactic thing, and then we cleanse the palate, and then whatever 5 and 6 want to be.
Do some grass.
We go back to Earth because we burned Pandora.
That was a I
Hear
like
me
that.
out.
A real
Hear me out.
Avatar.
What about
meet and greet.
Avatar 6? They go to Disney World and see that there was a world made about them, and they don't like it. And we get to see Jake Sully ride Flight of Passage. Genius idea.
Okay.
Book it. Thank you. You're welcome, James Cameron. I'll see you in Hollywood.
All right. Back out of the very, very, very far off topic. My last one's a little bit more realistic. Again, I want the nights back in the parks. And more specifically, I want to be able to go on the safari at night. There's a whole thing in the Imagineering story. Actually, I'm not even sure if it's in the Imagineering story or if it's in the Animal Kingdom series, but there's a whole thing about that light that they made for the elephants so that you can see the elephants at night, but it doesn't look like a light and you still feel like you're out in the jungle.
Animal Kingdom series.
Yeah. There's all this stuff.
It looks like a tree.
It's not utilized anymore. I'm like, I used to love that. Like, they end the safari so early these days, and I'm like, you don't get the benefit of the animals at the most active time of the day. And like that whole park closes early. Like Animal Kingdom, the park closes at 8:30. But if you look on your itinerary, every single show and experience outside of like 4 rides closes at like 5:30. It's like 90% of this park is closed 3 hours before
Also,
the park
Everest
closes.
is amazing in the dark.
Yeah, that's one of the only things left to do once you get to the end of the day. But still, I just want better park. I want better park hours for Disney World because as a local with a full-time job, like going in the evening, it's like, okay, cool. I get off work at 5. I've got to do stuff before I can go to the parks. By the time I get to the parks some nights, it's like, cool. I've got an hour and a half before this park closes. Whereas I'd stay out for 4 hours if I could. I'd stay out for 5 hours and just have a good evening out during the week. But
Definitely.
it's not even an option. Like they act like it's so crazy to go past 9 p.m. anymore. So that's mine. More on the realistic and very doable side. But yeah.
Yeah, I have
Okay,
no
well,
input for that. I think it's just a great idea.
I agree. Yeah. Well,
Also
I think
great for
since that
people
was
coming from out of state.
since that was a fast one, we'll jump into my last one real quick. One that I want to see, and I wish they would have done it for COVID when the parks were shut down for however long. I want to see more money sunk into the maintenance department of all the theme parks, all North American parks. I mean,
actually
Haunted
think that's
Mansion
pretty
jumps down.
realistic.
Haunted Mansion shuts down all the time. Rise of the Resistance is on like the average of 15 breakdowns a day. I mean, it is the most complex ride, but 15 breakdowns a day. I mean, you name it. Peter Pan shuts down a lot. Pirates is down a lot. I mean, Space is down a lot. I mean, Buzz Lightyear's down a lot, and that's on all across the board.
And if not down, they're in B mode.
Yeah, they're in B
Which
mode,
sucks.
which is, kind of mid. I mean, and I always said I wish when the parks were closed, and I understand why they didn't do this because they would have had awful media backlash. I wish when the parks were closed, they would have just said, "Hey, look, we're going to take the time and we're going to clean everything, and we're going to clean." I don't mean maintenance as in just like we're going to fix things on rides. I mean cleaning like the top of buildings and the backside of buildings. Like we're going to take care of our parks because we have the perfect time to do so. To do like while no one's here. And I know they do it at night every now and then. I know certain cast members do every now and then
Nightly.
at night. They
They
will
clean the parks
they
nightly.
do it. No, yeah. But I mean, you ever seen the like when you get up on the people mover and stuff? You can pressure wash all that a little better, all up in there. But I just want to see more maintenance sunk into the parks like that. More money put towards those people.
So unfortunately, the thing with like the rides breaking or whatever, and this is something that everyone could do better about, and just make the mentality is the problem is you have a ride go down. If it goes down, and realistically, the answer is to close the ride for a day or two to fix whatever they're going to fix so that it doesn't happen a couple days later. So it doesn't happen tomorrow. So It's not happening a week from now. People lose their mind if they're there on vacation and they're like, this is the one ride we came here for. In fact, I saw a TikTok today that I can't remember the account's name. I apologize if she listens to this. Please definitely comment, say, hey, that was me. I'll definitely go find it. But it was brilliant. They did one of those, a cast member, like what everyone's been doing lately, using the trickster voice where it's like telling stories of actual interactions you have with people. And they were talking about, they're like we came here, like this ride is down. Like, we want to go on this ride now. They're like, this ride's closed right now. It's like, well, that's fine, but we want to go now. They're just like, well, you can come back later if it's open. It's like, I don't care. We want to go now. It's like, you can't go right now. And then they're like, listen, we came all the way here specifically for this ride. And then the girl's like, well, I don't believe that because this is Dinosaur. But like that's, and it's a joke, but it's so true that like that is people's complaint. They're always like, oh, that ride's down. We came here just for that ride. It's like, did you? You didn't. That's just your excuse right now. But if people weren't like that, I feel like Disney would feel justified in closing a ride for a day, closing a ride for a week because they need to. But people lose their minds. And so if we can all be better about it, maybe it's a realistic thing.
I see people going to certain rides like Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, Rise of the Resistance, certain things like that. I totally see that, but not Dinosaur. Come on, not Dinosaur out of all rides. Come on, get a grip.
Don't hate on my dino.
I love.
I'm not.
Dinosaur.
I'm just saying. Out of all rides, Dinosaur. That's
much.
what they were there. That's what they came all the way to Walt Disney World for. Dinosaur. Come on.
Hey man, it's a future paleontologist. They like
Let's
Ross a
go get
lot
that
growing
dino.
up. They went into the profession. They are there for Dinosaur.
Dr.
Well,
Seeker, baby.
They could have had a
What
whole
a stud.
entire. Well, you know what? Dinosaurs getting destroyed at some point, so it's out here.
Mouth. But Cole and I said the same exact thing. Cole and I literally both said, "Watch your mouth." All right.
Well, that was on to our next thing. I guess we'll just jump right into it. What do you guys expect to see out of Bob Iger and company? Nico, what do you expect to see? We'll just keep going in order here. What do you expect to see out of him?
So my things, I'm gonna keep these real brief because I definitely want to get into the game soon. But
oh yeah,
first one, super straightforward. I do think, and you guys can tell me if I'm crazy, and I have a reason for this. I do think we might see a halt on some of the price increases, and the reason I say that is because Bob Iger kind of shot himself in the foot by coming out and like publicly condemning the price increases and how he was so upset about them. You can't come out and say that and then be like, gosh, I'm so upset about all these price increases, but the prices are still going to go up even more. Like the recent ones that were announced but not implemented. I think there's a chance, I'm not saying for definite, but I think there's a chance that we could see a halt on some price increases.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of price increases across the board, and I mean that's tickets, annual passes that they don't even sell anymore, or at the moment. Hotels have gone up, food has gone up, snacks has gone up. I mean, you name it. Merchandise has gone up. I mean, you name it, it has gone up drastically. So I also hope to see a stop, not even a halt, a complete stop in price increases. I mean, it's getting harder and harder for people to go on a Disney vacation because of the prices. And I think that's one thing. He did mention that. He did say, I, as an outsider looking in these last 2 years, I do see it has gotten harder for the, average family American to visit our parks.
So you just hit on exactly what my first point was going to be, and that is annual passes. I said it the night we found out. My biggest hope for him is that I really hoped he would have announced it this last week. I thought it would have been a great like Black Friday thing where it's like, okay, we're not selling them at a discount, but we're selling them.
Right.
And stuff like that. I was adamant saying the first thing he needs to do is reactivate annual pass sales because people already love him. The amount of people that are going to love you even more, the amount of good PR you're going to get from people, because like you're going to have people that buy them as Christmas presents for their whole family, and then you're going to have free advertising and everyone making TikToks on Christmas morning telling their kids that they got annual passes again, or they finally got annual passes for like the people that moved here thinking they would get annual passes and start living their best Disney life and haven't been able to yet. Like there is so much good that could come from him reactivating annual passes exactly at the price that they're at. Don't bring them back at a higher increase like Chapek did with California and then immediately pause them and raise them again. Don't do that. Just turn them back on. Just flip the switch in the computer tomorrow and let people go nuts. You don't even have to tell anyone that you're doing it. Just flip the switch, let the internet find out in a frenzy, and people will be buying up like crazy, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, Iger did it. He brought back annual passes.
If you tell people they're going to do it, it's another Taylor Swift problem.
It's a change
exactly.
It's
a change that brings money.
I said this briefly in last week's small discussion about Iger, but there are so many things he can do that still make the company money. Because to be honest, I would be running to get one, and because I'm out of state, I don't know that I'd spend $1,200 on park tickets a year. But I'll spend $1,200 on an annual pass, and then in my mind be like, okay, I'm going to try to use it. Regardless, they make money, and you have loyalists, and you have people just, what I talked about with optics. It's something that people have been asking for, and it's something that he could deliver, keep money coming in, and people will be like, wow, we asked for annual passes. He brought them back. Iger's the greatest. Simple.
It's so funny that like all of our first things was like the annual pass thing. That was mine too. I don't think he'll bring them back during the holiday season. I think it should be more towards like the springtime if he does bring them back, like right before everything kind of comes out.
He should, though.
I do too. I want him to. I think he should. I totally think he should have done it this past week. It would have been a great like, I'm back, bitches. Like, let's get the ball rolling. But I just don't think it will happen. Like until
as a
at
world,
least March.
as a world, we have talked about revenge travel since the world started reopening from COVID. You want to talk about Disney's own personal revenge travel? If Iger turns the passes back on, the amount of people buying passes and then going to the parks and just being like, hey, Chapek, look, I'm spending money in your park. I'm spending money hand over fist. The amount of like revenge Disneying that will come from people because of like being so pissed off at what Chapek did for the last year. Like, come on. Like, it could not be a smarter move for them. The amount of money they would make just from the sale alone.
Oh, people don't realize a lot of the Iger shit, they could re-implement and not lose any money. Like, bringing back Magic Bands and making rooms $5 a night more expensive. Because nobody will notice that few dollar price increase, and everybody will just see, oh, we get Magic Bands back. And that's a different tangent, but it goes to the point of you can do things to make money and make people feel good because they feel like they're getting the stuff that Iger gave us and still capitalize on it. I mean, that's...
Right. Nonchalantly doing things without making it like from a $5 instead of doing a $100 increase in room, they're doing $5 to make up for giving away free Magic Bands.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very nonchalantly, and people would not notice that.
'Cause that's all people would see. But
oh yeah,
John, did you do what you think is going to happen?
Nah, not yet, because we were all kind of on the same page with the AP one. But
right.
The one thing that I think is going to happen, considering he has touched on it multiple times already, is creativity back into the hands of the Imagineers. I think he's going to allow the Imagineers to run wild with some of these blue sky projects that have been talked about at D23. I think the D23 that happens in 2024 will have one of the biggest announcements to come in years when it comes to just the theme parks alone. I really do think that he is going to bring some type of something to just Walt Disney World alone, because he's opened what, 3 parks? Iger has 2. He's opened at least 2 parks as him being CEO in general. So yeah. I go for it.
He's responsible for more than anyone else. Like the parks that he's facilitated and opening up,
Eisner.
The purchasing of Marvel and Star Wars. And I love how in the town hall today he's like, "Listen, we're not purchasing anything else." Like he made a point to talk about. I was like, "We are not purchasing any other stuff." It's just like don't look like I'm not going to.
We're not buying Paramount.
Disney acquires DC. We're getting Avengers versus Justice League in 4 years.
No, it's just like, sorry, we're not buying Paramount. We're not opening a Disney Yellowstone Park in Montana. Like, don't worry, we're fine. But that's
what I'm saying is that like I don't like I think like I mean he bought the 2 biggest assets Disney could have ever got their hands on. That's in my opinion. So I just think the future's bright. I think by 2026 we're gonna have something special in Walt Disney World because of the actions that he takes with Imagineering over the next 2 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that. I think that some of those blue sky ideas, I think at least 1 or 2 of them will be announced as real projects at the next D23 because it'll be right before he goes away.
Oh yeah,
it'll be a couple months before he goes back away. He is going to leave us with like, hey, I'm leaving, but I did the right job.
He's gone out with a bang.
I prepared our next CEO. I really could see them going the D'Amaro route because of how much people just love the optics of Josh D'Amaro and how nice he is to people. He could say, listen, I prepared Josh. He's ready, and bang. These blue sky announcements that Josh had told you about last D23. This is actually coming, and this is actually coming. But I mean, I totally agree, John. And just to kind of segue into my last little point, again, really brief. We've talked a lot about the parks, and we know that he's the CEO of Disney, so it's not just the parks. I want to touch on one thing outside of the parks that I do think is for sure happening, because it's been mentioned. I think we're going to see a decrease in Disney Plus original content. I don't think we're going to see as many Marvel TV shows. I don't think we're going to see them pouring money into as many, one-off movies and TV shows and things like that.
As they shouldn't.
Because they've been financial failures. Point blank, period. a lot of the stuff, and it's not that they're not putting out quality content. A lot of the stuff they put out is good, except for the Santa Clauses. I don't even know if I could watch the rest of that show. It's so bad. But
I haven't started it, but no, you make a good point, and this is the last of what I want to say on it. We've talked about this. I feel the same way. Unfortunately, there are going to be some people that don't feel right about this, but as far as original content on Disney Plus goes, it honestly is pretty much probably just going to be Marvel and Star Wars. And then as far as the Disney content is putting any Disney Channel original movie that got released on Disney Channel on there, putting your Disney Channel shows, putting all of your Disney movies 45 days after they're in the theaters, putting everything like that. So then you have all the Star Wars and Marvel fans paying for Disney Plus because they want the shows. You have all your Disney fans paying because maybe they don't want to take their family of 4, their family of 5 to the movie theater. They'd rather pay $12.99 and wait 45 days and then watch it at home and everything like that. You do not, like, Disney Channel has its own budget. Let Disney Channel be Disney Channel, and then let everyone from, again, going back to generations, our generation is the start and is the death of cable. Like, there's so many of these cable channels have streaming channels of their own now because we don't have cable. I don't have cable, but I have Paramount Plus. I have ESPN. Like, that's the thing. Like, people still want their Disney fix, but they don't have cable to watch Disney Channel. So just put Disney Channel on Disney Plus, and there's your Disney content on Disney Plus. Like, they don't need to make it a big deal, like Chapek tried to.
Adapt to the era. Now they're not Disney Channel original movies. They're just Disney Plus original movies.
Or they're just Disney original movies.
Just absorb it. I mean, and honestly, some of the stuff they've done has been so Disney Channel vibe, like High School Musical and Musical series. I swear by that series. I think it's very entertaining, and I will probably watch the seasons, but it does have a Disney Channel vibe. And I also think they're going to cut out certain projects that, like, we just don't need, like Sneakerella and things like that. Like, just projects that are random and unnecessary, and that's it. I just wanted to touch on something with movies and TV before I went. But I think that it's going to go back more to quality over quantity instead of just churning out. Instead of just, for lack of better terms, throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, I like it.
That's it.
Well, as always, we do have a mini game for all of our wonderful people tuning in. So, Cole, our game master, take it away. What are we doing tonight, buddy?
Master.
Oh, we're going to have some fun tonight, boys. In keeping with this week's theme of Disney parks, I have a series of questions for you guys, where I'm going to ask you where this ride is, and you have to tell me what park, and we're talking all of them, all 6 resorts, all parks at each of those resorts. It could be on any one of them. I will say they are all current rides. I did not try to stump you with something that was their opening day that got changed into something else. Do not worry about that, but you're gonna detect a theme. And you're probably not going to be happy with me as this
Are these
game goes on.
international parks as well?
They're international parks, and they're going to be international versions of rides we know. It's
See,
gonna be
here's the thing. I'm going to ask you where a ride is, and you're going to tell me where it is, and we're going to see if you're right or you're wrong. And I'm going to keep a little score here, and we're going to see who knows more about Disney as a whole, Nico or John.
Great. Let's call it Stump the Schmucks.
We're going to start off with an easy one.
Wait, so how are we answering? Are we texting you our answer, writing our answer down? Because I don't.
We're going to go on the honors. We're going to go on the honor system here. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think of it. Raise your hands once you have your answer. Whoever speaks first, whoever goes second, if you go, oh, that was good, do not change your answer. We're going on the honor system here. Just say what you were going to say, okay? And I'm going to trust you guys.
Okay.
All right. Number 1. Where is Toy Story Midway Mania?
My hand is up.
John, do you know? Raise your hand once you know, or once you have an answer.
I'll raise my.
You're going to raise a little baton. All right, Nico.
Toy Story Midway Mania. Oh crap! I know that it's just in the West Coast parks. I don't know which one. Is on Pixar California Adventure?
John?
It's in California Adventure and Hollywood Studios,
Nope.
isn't it?
See, now
Nope.
do I ding you, John? Because no.
Hollywood Studios is not called Midway Mania.
Yeah, the Midway part is not part of Disney World.
Oh, really?
Version.
Because I've always just said we go
That's
ride Midway
well.
Mania.
I thought I was giving you an easy one to start, but
No,
you got it right. It is California Adventure, so both of you get a point. That was an easy one, John. I'm very fearful now. You're our parks guy.
No, I mean it's the same. It's like the same.
Don't
thing.
overthink
The
it, John.
rides
Don't
changed.
overthink it.
and now is where the theme reveals itself. Where
Disneyland?
is Tower of Terror? That was pretty quick, Nico. John, you need to raise your hand once you have your answer.
I'm sorry.
Nico?
Tower of Terror is in Shanghai Disneyland.
John?
The Tower of Terror is in Hollywood Studios.
No, that's Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Yep. In Walt Disney World, it is called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Okay,
However,
I got you. Okay, I get what you're doing now.
Nico,
Okay.
it is actually located in Tokyo Disney Sea.
I knew it was one of the Asian parks. Oh my god, dude.
So no points for that round.
I'm telling you,
happy
I
I
know
used
my
it wrong.
international parks. I watch a lot of walkthroughs. I am a loser.
Okay.
Listen,
I get what you're doing
gentlemen. This is an even. In fact, it's actually probably more international parks than it is stateside parks.
This is all semantics. My
Next,
god.
where is Slinky Dog Spin?
Slinky Dog Spin?
If you don't know, just take a wild guess on what park you might think it is. You could be
Okay.
right.
I'll let John guess first, 'cause I'm
Nico?
pretty sure I know for
Okay.
a fact.
John, where do you think Slinky Dog Spin is?
In the God, what's the name of that park over in Paris? The animation park over in Paris. I don't remember
Studios.
the name of it. The Studios Park, yeah.
Walt.
Okay, and Nico.
It's called Walt Disney Studios Park, and I'm pretty sure that is where it is.
You are both incorrect. It is in Shanghai Disneyland.
It's not the one in Disneyland Paris that's just the Slinky that goes in circles, or is that a different name?
If they have it as well, feel free to correct me real quick. Someone Google it if you want to correct me, but I'm pretty sure that it's only in Shanghai Disneyland. If it's
Looking
also
it
in Disneyland Paris, in Walt Disney Studios, and I missed that on the list of rides, then I will give you a point.
So, in Walt Disney Studios, Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin is an attraction.
Well, I'm just talking about Slinky Dog Spin. You know what? I'm going to be generous because this game is going to punish you guys, even though that goes against the entire basis of this game, because
It
I
doesn't
did not
matter.
know that ride was there with such a similar name.
It doesn't matter, though, because we both said the same thing, so we both would either be right or wrong.
That's fine.
so
I'm
the
going to give you
don't
points
matter.
because, unfortunately, I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game, so I want you guys to feel better about your end result.
Oh, God.
I got the theme of the game now. I got
Semantics is the
Well,
theme of the
there,
I'm ready.
and of course, you say that right when I change it up on you a little bit. How many parks have Animation Academy?
Oh, bro. I just laughed so hard. I farted.
I will tell you right now,
Oh my God.
What?
there is a possible bonus point that I will give you if you mention a certain thing that most would not think of. In
Okay,
addition, or even if you
I'm
don't
gonna
get
say-
even if you don't get the 4 right, but you get this one thing right, I will give you a point for that. But then if you get the 4 right, you get a point for that as well.
Oh wait, so
there's
we
a-
have to
there's a-
name what 4 parks? Because you said how many, so you kind of just gave
No.
us the answer.
No. I didn't. I said how many. You kind of, John, real quick. How many parks have Animation Academy?
like 3.
I'm
Okay,
gonna say,
and name the ones that you think have it.
I think. Hold on, I gotta look at I pulled up a list of the parks. I gotta look over here.
that's not fair. I don't have a list of the parks.
I can't remember all the damn names of the parks.
That should be a question because I think I can name all the parks.
See, I couldn't do that. My brain doesn't work that way. I think Paris has it. I think Disneyland Paris has it. I think Disneyland has it. And I think Tokyo Disney has it.
So.
Okay, and Nico, what's your answer? How many parks?
I'm going to say, and I'm not just saying this, you said it, but I genuinely, I don't know if it's 4 or 5, but I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to say that I think it's Walt Disney Studios in Paris, Epcot, Tokyo Disneyland, and then Animal Kingdom at Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Man, okay, so here's the thing. It is 4 parks, so you get a point for that. The 4 parks that have Animation Academy, that have had it as standing structures, it's in California Adventure, in California. It's at Studio Parks Paris. And so you were right about it being in studios. It's in Hong Kong. And then Disney World has it in Animal Kingdom at Rafiki's Planet Watch. Now, in 2021, they brought it back to Epcot during the Art Festival. So it is back in Epcot during the Art Festival. And that is the bonus point, is if anyone named Epcot, because it's not a permanent building or structure. So for anyone to get Epcot, so you actually got 2 points because it's 4 parks.
It.
I wasn't asking you to name the 4 parks, but you named the bonus location that got re-added. And I don't know if it will be a recurring thing every art festival, but they did bring it back to the art festival in 2021. I don't know if they did it this last year.
See, I thought that Rafiki's Planet Watch was your one that you wanted to see if anybody pointed out, because
you should know that it's at Animal Kingdom, people.
Not many people go to Rafiki's Planet Watch, which is one of the best things to do at Animal Kingdom.
Well, now you know. You can go do Animation Academy at Rafiki's Planet Watch. It's great.
And you could pet goats.
And if there's an animal being operated on, you can watch an operation.
It's very informative. All right, let's move on.
It's very informative. You can also, there's petting zoo there. There's goats. You can pet goats. You can watch an animal having an operation. And you can draw. Okay, next question. Where is Monsters, Inc. Ride and Go Seek?
Oh, balls.
This is just taking a shot in the dark, boys. Ooh, John's already got one. John, where do you think Monsters, Inc. Ride and Go Seek is?
Hong Kong Disneyland.
And I'm going to say
Nico?
Disneyland Paris.
John was closer. It is in Tokyo Disneyland.
Damn.
Close.
No, John, you don't get a same point for them being in the same continent.
Hemisphere. All right. Here's another fun one. Where is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril?
I believe that is Disneyland Paris.
John?
Indiana Jones?
And the Temple of Peril.
Let's take a shot in the dark here. Disneyland Sea? Disney Sea?
Okay. Nico is correct. It is in Disneyland Paris. The difference for anyone listening from California is is just called Indiana Jones Adventure.
And it probably breaks down a lot more.
It does.
Dinosaur ride.
Okay.
System.
Moving right along. How many parks contain Peter Pan's Flight?
What the shit?
I will not make you name the parks. Just how many parks? Obviously, and I mean just for because this game's going to get overwhelming, there are 6 resorts. So obviously it wouldn't be in both parks at one resort. So there are 6 total resorts. California, US, Hong Kong, Paris, Shanghai, and Tokyo. How many parks do you think, or how many resorts do you think have Peter Pan flight? John?
5.
Nico?
Isn't it 6? Isn't it in every Fantasyland?
According to my research, it is not. It is only in 5 of them. It is in Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, Shanghai, and Tokyo. The one that is not at is Hong Kong.
Damn it.
In my research, I was very surprised. There is a lot that 5 resorts have. Hong Kong is like the odd duck out when it comes to
right.
a lot of these attracactions.
You're 100% right.
So that's a point for John. Well done.
Damn.
Did you know that when Peter Pan's flight is at a 90-minute wait in Magic Kingdom, every minute you wait is 1 second on the ride?
I did not know that.
Peter Pan's flight is only a 90-second ride.
90-second ride. It's one of the shortest rides.
This one might trip you boys up. Where is Avatar Explore Pandora? This is classified as an attraction, but as you know, attractions aren't specifically rides. Nico, do you have a guess?
Shanghai Disneyland.
John, what do you think?
Wait, can I change it? Before John guesses?
Sure.
I'm going to say Disney Sea, just because I feel like it would fit there.
John?
I think it's in Tokyo.
Nico, you shouldn't have changed your answer.
Damn
It was the Shanghai Disneyland.
Damn it.
Here's another one.
Wait, so was I
This
wrong?
one might be a little. This one might be a little easier, but I also could be throwing you guys for a loop. Where is Spider-Man Web Adventure?
Disneyland Paris.
You need to let him think for a second. Before you just. This is not a buzzer game,
Sorry.
John. Since he's breaking the rules, you want to feed off of that? Do you think it's at Disneyland Paris?
Let's just say it's in Disneyland Paris.
It's at Disneyland Paris.
I just know
As
it's not.
you know,
Yeah.
it's Web Slingers in California.
Web Slingers, and then the only other
Web
place is
Slingers,
Avengers
a
Campus.
Spider-Man adventure, is what it's called in California.
Web Slingers,
Whereas
an
there, it
expensive
is
mid
Spider-Man
ride.
Web Adventures. Where are the Explorer canoes?
John's first.
John, where do you think the Explorer canoes are?
They're in Disneyland.
Nico?
Tokyo
Am I tricking you guys?
Disneyland.
Am I tricking you guys? Or am I in Tokyo Disneyland? That's your answer?
Yeah.
Both of you are wrong. The Explorer canoes are in Disneyland in Shanghai Disneyland. In California, they are called Davy Crockett's Explorer
Wait, didn't I say Shanghai
canoes.
Disneyland?
No, he said Tokyo.
Fuck.
So
I like
close.
the guy on TikTok who's always like, "Go ride the canoes."
That's
in
Justin.
Disneyland.
He's hilarious.
Justin's amazing.
Yeah,
He's so
he's got
funny.
the beard, or the bandana or something.
Y'all gonna be mad at this one. Where is Turtle Talk located?
Walt Disney Studios Park?
John?
Disney Sea.
Ding, ding, ding. John got it.
Nice.
Every other location of Turtle Talk is Turtle Talk with Crush, but in Tokyo Disney Sea, it is just Turtle Talk.
This sucks.
For the record, we have a score update with only 4 questions left. Nico has 6 points. John has 5 points. So it is a close race.
It's a tight heat.
Do all 6 resorts have a Pirates of the Caribbean ride in one of their parks? Yes or no?
I'm gonna go first and say no.
Nico?
Yeah, I really don't know. No idea.
So do you want to answer the same as John, or do you want to go out on a limb in hopes that it increases your lead and say yes?
Mom ain't raised no bitch. I'm going to say yes.
The answer is no. Hong Kong does not have a
I
Pirates of the
didn't say it
Caribbean.
just because I didn't want to look like I was copying John to play defense. This is shit.
Hey, now we're tied. Let's go.
Where is Jungle Cruise Wildlife Expeditions?
Your ass. Hell knows.
I told you were going to hate this. You're learning the difference in how parks name their rides. A key thing to think about is what would lead someone to have a different name? I don't know, possibly how the language it's written in. Maybe it doesn't translate as well. Maybe there's a need to give a little bit more detail because something like just Jungle Cruise doesn't make sense in another language.
Can you use it in a sentence? Country of origin?
Hey,
can you spell
Mom
it?
And Dad, well, hey, Mom and Dad, while we're on vacation from the United States in blank country, why don't we go ride Jungle Cruise Wildlife Expedition?
Oh my god. Hong Kong. Duh.
John?
Hong Kong Disneyland.
It is not. It is in Tokyo Disneyland. You're close. You guys are close. These international ones are tripping you up. All the other parks is just called Jungle Cruise. Every other park with it. Or Jingle Cruise, depending on what park and what time of year you're in.
I can't ride. Can we ride the Jingle? I want to ride the Jingle Cruise.
I love Jingle Cruise. I did it last year. I had the best skipper. Brett was his name. Jingle Cruise.
Where is Stitch Encounter?
Where's Stitch Encounter?
Who would have a fascination for Stitch? John?
Hong Kong Disneyland?
You guys really like saying Hong Kong.
It just feels like it makes sense there. But
this is a curveball. It is a meet and greet at Disney's Aulani Resort. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say. Cole just nodded. I really hope I wasn't just right. I'm gonna say it's at Tokyo Disney Sea.
Oh, both of you are wrong, but Nico, you were oh so close. It's at Tokyo Disneyland. Wrong part. Final question, and John, man, I am hopeful. I am hopeful for you on this one. This is for all the marbles because you guys are both tied at 6 right now.
It's going to be a Muppet question.
What attraction? What is one attraction? I got conflicting reports on whether it is the only attraction currently, or for a while it was the only attraction. But what attraction can be found at all 6 Disney resorts? Every single resort has this exact same ride with the exact same name in at least one of their parks.
My hand is up first.
Nico?
It's one of the mountains. I got to the answer before considering.
I'm going to save you a little embarrassment and tell you it is not.
Exactly.
You think you're it.
I was just looking at you, and I realized that that's true and not true at the same time. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. God.
It said what attraction is...
What attraction can be found at all 6
resorts?
resorts? And John, I am so hopeful for you on this one. And once you know the answer, you'll know why.
Well, I'm like running through the list of attractions.
You saying this makes me feel
I think
like
I got
it's
it.
Muppet Vision 3D.
I'm gonna let Nico. It's not. I'm gonna let Nico go first.
Come on, Nico.
But
I'm
I
already
think I
giving you
got
a bit
the
of a
answer.
freebie with not guessing one of the mountains.
Yeah, I know. I just feel really stumped because I feel like that was the only one that would carry the same exact name. Oh. I'm gonna say it's a small world.
That was Kaylee's guess. I'm not going to tell if you're right or wrong yet. John, what do you think it is?
I'm just trying to think of something that would be in every fantasy
I'm
land.
stuck. I'm stuck between 2.
What do you think your 2 are? This man technically got 2 guesses.
My 2 would be Dumbo, the flying elephant. I know that's out there. And then my other one is also It's a Small World because of how it's so cultural and it's got every language.
For all the marbles, it is Dumbo.
Oh my God! Are you
John didn't
serious?
say which answer. John didn't say which answer. He said he
No,
was
Sir,
being
it was
Stop!
his first guess. It was his first guess, and you got 2 guesses as well, and both of yours were wrong.
But he never locked in his answer. He never locked in
Go
his
then.
answer.
I said he could give me both because you said mountains, and I told you it was wrong, and you got a second guess.
Because everybody loves Dumbo.
This is
Everybody
crap.
knows Dumbo.
Sir,
Everybody
you
knows
know it
Dumbo.
was absolutely fair. You literally said, I know
Extra
it's one of the
points.
mountains.
Do an extra credit question if you can name every Disney park.
He's got the list up. You're going to
The list,
lose.
though.
This is bullshit.
It's really not.
Fucking Dumbo.
Let's go.
Okay, here, you want a you want a bonus question in keeping with our discussion this evening about Bob Iger? Let's see real quick. 1 second, boys.
How big is Bob Iger's heart?
All right, you both might know this. Let's just see for a bonus extra credit point. That means absolutely nothing, but because Nico needs one to feel better about himself. What year did Shanghai Disneyland open?
I know it's not super long ago.
It happened under Iger, so you got like a
so
15-year
Within
window.
the last 15 years.
John, that was a very confident. Just
It's 2015.
John's just sitting back with his win going. Yep. Nico's doing math in his head.
Well, because John's probably looking at all the parks and it says what date they opened right next to it.
I mean,
No, it doesn't.
you're the one that asked for him to name all the parks, which means he could have pulled something up. So who knows if he has that up?
I don't.
2009.
He doesn't. Okay, that's the year I graduated high school. That's a good year.
I graduated
Good
high school in
vintage.
2014.
Good vintage. Now you know how old I am.
2012 for me.
So 2009, and then he's also saying 2012. This man's just throwing a bunch of dates out. Or are you
no,
just saying this
that was when I
high school?
graduated high school. It's
Gosh, I'm so
2012.
much older than all of you. I didn't
Damn,
have
y'all
a
are
one.
old.
There was not
You
a
were a
one
senior when
involved
I was
in
a
the
freshman.
year I
You're not that
graduated
much
at
older.
all.
John, what year is it?
You
'Cause you're
would have
so
been a
confident.
child in my eyes. Nico, or you said 2009. John, what year did it open?
2011.
Oh, you're wrong, John. You were so confident.
Yeah. I just
2016.
It just
I said
2016.
2011
I said
seemed like it made
2015
sense.
first, but I thought it was way too recent.
Couldn't even get the bonus question right. Well,
You know
John,
what this game? You know
our
what this
park-
game is going to do to me? You know what this game is going to do to me? It's going to make me turn into something that I don't want to be.
for all those listening on their way to work, Nico just put on a Darth Vader mask and is attempting to chokehold me. He also put his headphones on over the outside of the helmet. I don't know how effective that is. All right, John, that is the end of tonight's episode. And in perfect fashion, our Disney Parks guy wins the Disney Park Where Is It Located game. Take us home, John.
Let's do movie trivia, huh, bro? Movie trivia right now, bro.
I'm game master. I'll decide when we do movie trivia. Keep up
That
the
was fun,
attitude,
though.
Nico. Keep up the attitude.
I hope everybody had a wonderful time listening.
See if we ever
or
do
watching.
movie trivia. See if we ever do movie trivia.
Better be going to go cry myself to sleep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Either of you want to nominate a listener of the week?
I do actually. I have somebody who has just been interacting with me a lot, listens, goes right away. He hadn't seen Wakanda Forever yet, listened to the beginning of the episode, and then shut it off until he watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever, listened to it again, and listened to the game at the beginning. His name is Ethan. On TikTok, his name is @BigBeardsLittleBags. And he is a small creator. He just started making content, but
I love Ethan.
I think that his content is so great. He is a super, super nice dude, has given us nothing but great energy, and I think like he's really next up in our little group of big bearded Disney men.
He's got beards. He's got an appreciation of a Loungefly, and he wears Spirit jerseys. What's not to love about Ethan?
The only thing we're missing from John is the beard, but I feel like John, because he has such luscious and voluminous flow, it makes up for it. Like, as long as you have extra hair on your face, not in other places, that doesn't qualify.
He literally could make a beard using his hair, so he qualifies.
I could give me like 3 months. I could probably catch up to Cole when it comes to a beard.
My guy Ethan is dusting all of us.
I'm not kidding. Like I grow facial hair really fast. Like
John, I trim a solid inch or two off every week.
Bro, when are you gonna let me trim your beard?
Same.
I'll line you up so crispy, bro. When I come down there, I'm bringing the clippers. And for those of you who don't know, I am a full-time barber. I'm a licensed master barber. I will give you a mean fade, sir. I'm bringing the clippers.
Actually, you know what?
Ethan has
bring
the
the equipment
same-
because you bring the equipment because I need an actual just haircut. So
Okay.
John can cut my hair in 2 weeks.
You know who Ethan's beard resembles? It resembles Yukon Cornelius from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation.
I'll just come down once a month and be like your personal barber. Okay, how about that? I'll just come down once a month, give you a haircut. We'll shoot the shit.
All right,
Sounds
guys.
good. Also, Nico, really, we're going to go out and just name random characters in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation, and yet you can't tell me where Stitch Encounter is? What kind of Disney fan are you? That's not even a Disney movie, is it?
A Disney fan that's never been to an international park, man.
Doesn't matter. You should know where these things are. You want to know how many of these that I knew off the top of my head? Not a single one of them.
I was sitting there like salivating for Journey of the Center of the Earth. I feel like John and I both, that was a literal game of who could guess better. Like
who could BS their way through being a Disney adult?
Who could say words and hope they are true. But yeah.
Listen, I'm going to give everyone a little bit of homework. Let us know in the comments section, wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're watching it. If you're listening to this in the car, go check out the TikTok page, whatever our most recent video is. Go ahead and drop us a comment. Let us know if you've been to any of these international parks and if you've ridden one of the rides that I stumped them all with today. Let us know. We'd like to know what those parks are like. Because,
not listener
none of us can afford them.
Not listener of the week, but I am going to give a quick shout out, just somebody I stumbled upon. If you are looking to learn literally everything in short form content that you need to know about Tokyo Disneyland, I stumbled across a creator named Fantasvic. I'm not sure if you've seen her, but she did an entire series on everything to know about like Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. And it was incredibly informative. But not to take anything away from our listener of the week, Big Beards Little Bags, aka Ethan. We love you, brother.
Yeah, I this was my personal favorite episode to do this week. I'm so happy we finally got to talk about parks. I'm sure we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week. I have no clue yet, but that kind of wraps everything up. As always, thank you everybody for listening. Go follow the TikTok. Everything is the Mouse Bros on all social medias: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know what else we're on, to be honest with you. So go follow, subscribe, like, share, show it to your friends. And I hope everybody has a great week. Follow each of us individually, and we'll see you later.
John does this, bibbity bobbity beard, Neat
Adios.
Flicks. We're your guys, baby. Mouse Bros out.